Here's Brody Brazil.
I'll put it to you like this. If the Oakland A's as a team this season were a ship, it would have sunk a long time ago, like literally right out of the harbor. A month into the year, we knew the team would not be competitive. They were quickly on pace for like 130 losses at one point. Weren't they 12-50 in the first 62 games? Yeah, it was tough sledding out of the gate for the green and gold. That being established, here in the second half, and collectively a little bit, like the record has improved, but individually, there have actually been some bright spots for this team here in 2023, to the point that you might be able to start projecting that 24, 25, maybe 26, they could not only gain relevance again, but be competitive in the American League West. So I'm going to highlight some individuals in a second, but first I want to do the honorable mentions before anything else. Usually this comes last. I want to get these out of the way. These are more bigger picture or veteran related. In fact, let me start in the dugout. Mark Kotsay as the manager, I understand. You look at records this year and last year, 102 losses last year, probably 110 plus this year. That's just the way it's going. He was dealt a very difficult hand in taking over this job and this team. My point, though, is not even the record. It's what he's done with the group. They haven't unraveled. He's kept them together. Look at the White Sox, for example. And they have a different build and different aspirations, but honestly, the results haven't been that different. Mark Kotsay has held this group together, has not made anything more difficult than it actually already is. And I love the fact that he's getting this first big league managing experience with little to no pressure. He's only trying to get the individuals better, and when they're ready, I think we're going to see what type of manager he's able to be when he's got the right horses for the race. I'm giving Mark Kotsay a lot of credit at the helm and setting a tone for this team. Paul Blackburn, once he got past all the finger issues that really sidelined him last year during the All-Star campaign, he's been very solid. And I'm so happy for Paul Blackburn after all those years of up, down, up, down. Finally, last year, got to make bulk starts, and this year has been in the rotation ever since he joined the season a little bit later. He's been great. Love to see it. Trevor May came to Oakland this year as some type of a bullpen pitcher. We had no clue really how, where, when he'd be used. Less than a month into the season, goes on the IL with anxiety issues. It's a difficult situation. Credit to him for being honest and open about it and being upfront and dealing with it. And then to be put back into one of the most high leverage situations you can ask for as the team's closer. Now, granted, he's not getting nearly as many closing opportunities or save opportunities as most would like, but to thrive in that role, to put up some pretty good stats here in the second half of the season, I love it for Trevor May. Very happy for him individually to settle in. Tony Kemp, Seth Brown, two veteran players, really the last two now that Ramon Laureano is no longer on the team. The only two that were around this group, around this team when they were a playoff squad. And for them to be veterans and sometimes to not be in the lineup due to the younger players that want and need to get in there, and for them to continue to be good leaders, all that stuff. I think it's been exceptional that TK and Sarge, so to speak, have done what they've done. I mentioned the first 62 games, 12-50. It's a 193 winning percentage. They've almost doubled. No, they've more than doubled that in the games since. Now, they're already in triple-digit losses. We'll see how many they get to. But for me, it's going to be the split. The first 62 and the final 100 games. And then the last honorable mention here, if you've liked the Lawrence Butlers and the Ruizes and the Gelofs and the Soderstroms, there's more coming in the pipe. There's more of where that came from in the A's minor league system. So we haven't seen all of the iceberg yet. I think we've seen more than just the tip, but we're starting to see the future of this franchise. Let me get into all the individuals here. Esteury Ruiz, part of that 3-team trade, right, with Atlanta, but also he came from the Brewers in the Sean Murphy deal. And so he wasn't highly talked about because he was not from Atlanta, that Atlanta part. He was from Milwaukee in the 3-team part. Oh my goodness. Dude stole 80 bags last year in his baseball season in the major and minor leagues. He has the natural gift of speed. He is on the base path with a purpose. Good leads, good reads. The way he even slides into second and third base, like with some conviction. He's playing in the right era, and the fact that there's a pitch timer and you can only have 2 disengagements, the game is encouraging the stolen base right now, and Esteury Ruiz is prime for the taking. I see him at a potential of stealing 70 to 80 bags every single season. And the only reason he's not going to get to the high mark there this year is because he missed more than a month going back into first base, hurt his shoulder, was out for longer than anybody expected. And then now as he's come back, he's not an everyday player in the lineup like he used to be. There's just more competition out there in the outfield and in the lineup. Ricky Henderson. So this is the game of telephone. Ricky Henderson told Dave Stewart something that Dave Stewart told me and our audience on television. Ricky said that Esty has to be a creator. By that, he's got to find ways to get on base. He's not nearly walking as much as you'd like to see him, getting on base that way, or just the on-base percentage in general. Reminder, you can't steal unless you get on base. Got to be creative in ways to get on base. But it has been amazing. I mean, we've seen him at times walk, steal second, steal third, a sac fly brings him home. I love when a guy steals second and third. That is just, oh man, that's one of my favorite things in baseball. Like, the scouting report is out on number 1. You know he's probably going, and he just did, and you couldn't do anything about it. And not only did he steal second, he stole third on you too. The only other thing beyond getting on base more and becoming more of a creator that I think is in store for Pokey, as they call him, is just getting a little bit more comfortable in center field. And to be fair, he was an infielder before this. He was converted to the outfield. He's still figuring out center field. He's got all the right abilities and skill set and talents. It just needs to be honed and crafted with experience. This is one of my favorites right here. Esteury Ruiz. Got a little swag. Look at the chains on him. I think this photo was from a little bit earlier in the season. But he's got the look. He looks like a ball player, carries himself with some confidence. Kind of like Ricky. And I hate making that parallel because Ricky's Ricky. It's unfair to anybody to compare them to Ricky. But along the same lines as Ricky, you got to love Esteury Ruiz. Up next, Zack Gelof. Dude is a hitting machine. I mean, we knew that through his entire young career, but it didn't stop when he got to Oakland. Was he on a 19-game on-base streak? One of the fastest to 10 homers in Oakland A's history. A pure hitter. Guy breaks up no-hitters. I mean, I hate to say that the A's are in those situations, but he's done that a few times. He is a pure hitter, and there's no surprise why Mark Kotze's pretty much had him in the 2 and 3 hole all season long. I say 2 hole now and forever. I mean, as long as he's on this team, why wouldn't he be? Some guys slump, and look, he's gone through a little bit of a rut. He had so much success, kind of got into a week or two of, 0 for 1 for all that stuff. It'll all even out. But the bar has been set. You understand what he's going to do at the plate. We'll also talk about his defense in a second too. 2 hole now and forever. I mean, I think that's his forever home in the A's lineup. He's consistent getting on base, goes deep in counts. And like I said before, fastest A to 10 homers, Oakland A to 10 homers. He's got sneaky pop. Really does. Now, my only question is, he's a second baseman right now. And I think he has played on the left side of the infield in recent years. So my only question would be, do you want to put a bat like this on your team as a third baseman? I think he can handle it. I mean, he's shown you nothing but, perfection on the right side of the infield. Could he be a third baseman? Could you move him to that spot and get even a little bit more out of your lineup and see what you could put at second base. I don't know, just some speculation, just a little creativity on Zack Gelof. Honestly, don't have much to say other than Gelof me. This is the dude right here. A potential cornerstone for the future. And so is Lawrence Butler. Look at him throwing up the fours there. Zone 4. That's where he's from in Atlanta. Great dude. Had the opportunity to do an interview, my first interview with him, I don't know, 2 homestands ago. And it's funny, we did the TV interview for 7-8 minutes, and then we chatted for like 45 more. Really enjoy Lawrence Butler. It's clear he's got intangible leadership, which a group needs, right? You need the players, you need the horses, but you also need somebody to kind of be the front man and the face. And there could be more than one. I'm not just saying it has to only be Lawrence Butler, but he's got that charisma. You could tell that he does a good job holding a group together. And man, when he makes contact, it is loud contact. Some pretty impressive exit velocities from the Law Dog. He's had a quick ascent this year. Started out in AA, barely spent any time in AAA, and here he is basically playing the whole second half. Well, let's call it 2+ months at the end of this season. His batting average has a track record. I'd love to see a little bit more of that consistency. Like, I know he's going to hit homers, but I'd also love to see the average 250, 260, something like that at the major league level. You know, I was thinking of comparisons. Now, Dave Henderson played center field for the A's, but there's some Hendu in Lawrence Butler. First off, look at the smile, right? Like, he's out there loving what he's doing. That was so Hendu. But that was kind of Dave Henderson too. Could hit some homers, but could also find the gaps. I don't think we've even seen the beginning, and Mark Kotsay talked about this. He could steal some bases. Maybe with Lawrence Butler, we've only seen like the origins. We haven't even seen the full product yet. And why would we, right? Not even a first full major league season. But if I could pick anything out right now that I'd instantly like to see him keep in his game, it's just the batting average up a little bit more. Get him on base more. See what he can do in that regard. Defensively, pretty good arm, good range. Want to see more of him out there, obviously. Corner outfield spots, most likely. But very excited about Lawrence Butler. I said Gelof was a cornerstone piece. Same thing for Lawrence Butler. Ryan Noda, a Rule 5 guy from the Dodgers. What an on-base machine he's been. People forget he's a rookie status. 377 on-base percentage this year, leading all major league rookies. I think he was, at last check, he was also tied for the most rookie walks this year. Has always drawn walks. As a lefty, hits with tremendous pull side power. And a very sure-handed first baseman. They even had him at the leadoff spot, a first baseman as your leadoff hitter recently. But that's, I mean, a lot of games, 4 plate appearances, he's on base 2 or 3 times. 5 plate appearances, he was on base the other day 4 times. Sometimes it's a fielder's choice, a single, 2 walks. That's fine. That's great. Get on base and have Zack Gelof drive you in. I mean, between Ruiz, Noda, and Gelof, man, you've got a 1-2-3 right there that can do some damage. Really have enjoyed Ryan Noda this year. And again, another player with a freak injury, kind of like Ruiz, and had his season paused greatly. Got hit in infield practice with a ground ball, like broke his jaw, essentially. And is playing now with the mouth guard to try and minimize the risk, although there's huge risk in the rest of his season. I've enjoyed watching Ryan Noda. Let's talk about some pitchers. Mason Miller, my goodness. When I saw him back in April, now this was before the injury, he was hitting 102. And since he's come back, he's lit up the gun at 102. But it's not just the velocity. It's the ability to dot up the strike zone. Pinpoint accuracy. Doesn't walk a lot of batters. Locates where he wants. And he's only pitched, as I record this, less than 30 big league innings. How many guys, though, do you look at and say, I already know? Such is the case with Mason Miller. Now, you can't just have a fastball at 102. By the way, I say 102, that's the peak, but it's like easy 98, 99, 100. And he's not even, some guys are very laborious to get it up to that velocity. He's just kind of, I can't do it here on camera, but it's a low effort look to get to 100 plus miles an hour mechanically. It's clear though, not even 30 big league innings pitched. I know he's going to be good. He also has a good secondary pitch. I was mentioning before, you can't just have the velocity. You can't just have good location. You need other pitches. He backs up the fastball with a very good slider. Pretty excited about Mason Miller, and let's get him through this season. They recovered him. They rehabilitated him. He can finish off the rest of this year. Let's give him the winter. I can't wait to see what's hopefully a full season for him in 2024. And then there's J.P. Sears, who joined the A's last year, part of the Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino trade with the Yankees. Sears and Waldachuk came over together. I didn't put Waldachuk. He's had more of a difficult run this year, has had some bright spots, no doubt. But J.P. Sears, start to finish, is going to be in the rotation this year. He's going to exceed 30 starts in 2023, which is great. Just at his age to go a full season start to finish in the rotation. The only A's pitcher to be in the rotation the entire season. He's had a really interesting trajectory. April, bad. May, good. June, bad. July, good. August, bad. September, really good. It's kind of been on a seesaw. But that's fine because you can see in those up moments what he's capable of. 30 starts of only, 40-something total in Major League Baseball. He's not arbitration eligible until 2026. He's going to be around for a while. So we treat him as like a veteran, a pitcher who's been around for a long time, but he's really only in his first full season. And I do mean full because he's getting the full extent of it. Ultimately, is he your opening day starter every year? I don't know. But is he a top half of the rotation guy? Absolutely. He's your 1, 2, or maybe 3 starter. Like when this rotation gets to where it wants to be and this team gets to where it wants to be, J.P. Sears is a top half of the rotation type for me as a lefty. So, the A's season, like I mentioned before, rough. Prior to last year, they only had one 100-loss season, 1979. Then they lost 102 last year, and they're probably going to lose more than 110 this year. We'll see. Collectively, it has stunk. And that's just on the field. There's a whole off the field. You know all those videos on this channel too. Off the field has been very difficult. But I wanted to at least acknowledge some of the bright spots for this team this season because they deserve it. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can see you back here next time.